Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We are glad to have you join us. I am Lydia Ochi. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page NTA Network News, Twitter at NTA News Now and Instagram NTA Network for updates. Senators adopted a motion by Senator Ibrahim Oloriegbe seeking investigation of abandoned 400 billion naira National Primary Health Center project initiated in 2006. The senators want to know the status of the project funds warehoused in a commercial bank and determine the progress on projects in the 774 local government areas, amongst others.
Some of these projects were commenced and abandoned at various stages, while the majority of them were never started, despite huge sum of money released to all subcontractors.
The construction of these primary health centers was a major thing for the country, and it would have helped our health care center and supported whatever fragile healthcare system we had.
It is part of our job to investigate. It's part of our constitutional responsibility. I think Section 80 of 1999 Constitution as amended has given us this power of inquiry.
Status of the projects in each of the 774 local governments. 3, carry out evaluation of the consultant, contractor, and subcontractors that participated in the project. 4, carry out a schedule of dilapidation on the projects. And 5, recommend ways of completing the projects nationwide.
The Senate therefore mandated the joint committees on health, primary health care, and communicable disease, as well as that of housing, to investigate and report within 6 weeks. Meanwhile, senators advised the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 to deploy technology in detecting fake test results before foreign trips. This is one of the positions of the Senate committee investigating alleged fake COVID results in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Mobolaji Moribirin has the report.
This hearing is sequel to adoption of a motion at Senate plenary over allegations that Ghanaian authorities have tested Nigerians who traveled to their country positive for COVID-19, even after testing negative in Nigeria. Stakeholders on the subject matter took turns to intimate the committee on the journey so far on COVID-19 testing measures in Nigeria.
There are people who leave Nigeria who are determined and hell-bent on not following the protocol. They obtain fake results here, and therefore, when they arrive in other countries and they are tested, they can be positive.
The PSC in the last few months confiscated quite a number of international passports of some of the people that are found to have either violated on some of these protocols. The PSC, NCDC, and of course, they will go and work out a system that will leverage on technology that will eliminate the human error or what we are seeing in the system now.
Meanwhile, the committee also received submissions on 5 health-related bills aimed at improving the sector.
What we have inserted in it is that every hospital, public or private, shall receive for treatment with or without police clearance.
Give the eye hospital additional infrastructure and equipment so that they can increase the number of people that is served within that community and the environment.
This project will be one of your successful stories if established.
Much as these bills are desirable, we need to count the cost.
Both chambers of the National Assembly need to agree for the bills to be passed. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji, Moribiri, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is making arrangements to ensure that voting by lawmakers on the bill seeking amendment to some sections of the 1999 Constitution is credible and transparent. A test run was today conducted during plenary with the computers installed for the purpose of electronic voting, which had been adopted for the exercise coming up in 2 weeks. The current Constitution review is the 5th conducted by the National Assembly. Key thematic areas of the exercise by the 9th National Assembly include local government autonomy, judicial reforms, national security, and electoral matters. House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila says adoption of electronic voting is of essence.
And one of the essential ingredients of that constitutional democracy is to be able to determine for the people back home that we represent whether we're protecting their interest or we're voting in their interest or not. So the voting, electronic voting, is not just about the numbers, it's about the record and the pattern of voting.
The Office of the National Security Advisor is holding a masterclass on how to counter violent extremism in Nigeria. The forum is meant to drive home the tools for identifying and preventing terrorist attacks. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
The federal government, through the Office of the National Security Advisor, is implementing non-combat strategy to stem insurgency and other manifestations of violent extremism.
This very important event is designed to further stimulate our existing collaborative effort between the government of Nigeria and our partner, the government of the Netherlands, towards ensuring peace and stability in our country, in the first instance, and globally.
This forum in Abuja brings together key actors in the security sector, especially the civil society, to understand the strategy in the non-combat approach improve security in the country.
The policy framework and national action plan for preventing and countering violent extremism recognizes the integrated roles of these government agencies as well as stakeholders in the larger society as critical to adopting a whole of government and a whole of society approach.
The process requires inclusion of persons from various strata of the society in deepening the implementation of the national security policy.
The Netherlands wholeheartedly supports this approach.
Already, the government of the Netherlands is a keen supporter of the non-kinetic approach.
The Netherlands is happy to support that strategy, for example, by supporting these masterclasses. With the training, I am convinced that you'll be even better equipped to meet the real challenges of the fight against violent extremism.
Just as the security situation in the country continues to evolve, so the Nigerian government believes its approach towards tackling emerging trends must consistently be reviewed. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
You're on to Nationwide. Time to go on a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. President Muhammadu Buhari is in Brussels ahead of the 6th EU-African Union Summit beginning on Thursday. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has details.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrives Brussels International Airport at 10:30 Tuesday evening local time. On hand to accord him a befitting welcome was a delegation from the European Union and the Nigerian ambassador to Belgium, Obinna Onowu. Also at the airport were Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Health, Minister of State for Environment, the National Security Advisor, Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, and other senior government officials. At the EU-Africa Union Summit beginning on Thursday, President Buhari is expected to join European and other African leaders as well as heads of multilateral organizations to discuss issues of mutual concerns.
In this instance, the issues of sustainable and inclusive development, especially against the backdrop of the COVID devastation of the global economy, specifically for Nigeria and most of Africa. There are issues of unfair trade. Europeans, they subsidized their agriculture. And so therefore, there is no place when we try to break into their markets. It's always difficult to do because our prices of our own agricultural products are very uncompetitive here because of the huge subsidies, up to 50 billion euros that they give to their own, farmers. There's also the issue of the Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, between Europe and African countries. All of the countries in West Africa have signed. Nigeria has refused to sign, maybe because we're a big economy, we're strong, we are the largest economy on the continent. It simply says it is unfair. And we are seeking that, look, let them put money and set up industries that will employ our people so that that desperation, to cross the dangerous waters and the deserts to come to Europe for better life can be ameliorated.
And on the margins of the summit, the Nigerian leader will hold bilateral engagement with other world leaders on areas of common interest.
There are not less than 7 or 8 foreign heads of state who have indicated their wish to meet President Muhammadu Buhari. Huge interest in our own country. And it is, of course, to discuss matters of development for us, investments, weapons purchases, and all of that. So we are hoping that there will be so much that we'll take from here. And the presence of our leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, is of greater significance, and it will help in a big way to push the national agenda of Nigeria at this meeting.
President Buhari is expected back in Nigeria on Saturday. From Brussels, Belgium, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
We now go over to Lagos, where Adeola is standing by with more reports. Hello, Adeola.
Yeah. The Federal Road Safety Corps is working towards establishing special marshal units in all universities and academic institutions across the country for enhanced safe road culture. Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, disclosed this when he inaugurated and decorated special marshals to complement efforts of the Corps at the University of Lagos. Lynn Leneke reports.
The mandate of the Federal Road Safety Corps is to prevent road crashes and make the road safer. To achieve this aim, the Federal Road Safety have continued to partner institutions, organizations, and individuals to advance road safety management and reduce road crashes on highways to the barest minimum. Latest is the partnership between the Corps and the University of Lagos for improved driving culture and enhanced transportation system within and around the university community. To match words with action, 31 special marshals who will serve as volunteers to complement the work of FRSC were decorated by the FRSC boss.
The way most of the drivers are driving is barbaric. We acknowledge the fact that some of the drivers, they are licensed, but the driving culture is very poor. So I've been assured that by next month, the driving school / drivers proficiency center will commence operation. So with that means drivers, it becomes a center that we can refer the drivers to be retrained.
Vice Chancellor of the university said UNILAG remains a model institution of excellence as it already has in place a driver's licensing center and now planning to establish a degree program in School of Transportation and Proficiency Center.
We contribute our own quota to make the traffic system around this vicinity to be more efficient and to be well managed. Well, for the School of Transportation, we are done with the courses and also the quality of the program that we want to offer.
As the Federal Road Safety marks 34 years of enlightenment, advocacy, consultancy and education, training of drivers to imbibe better road culture remains priority. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
The objective of a national emergency medical services and ambulance system is to reach those in need of urgent medical care to satisfactorily treat presenting conditions from the scene of incident to the point of definitive care. The launch of a national emergency medical services and ambulance system is to enhance and strengthen the healthcare system in the country. Ruth Aria Samuel examines the benefits of the National Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance System, particularly in a city like Lagos.
Increasing urbanization and industrialization of Lagos State has led to an appreciable increase in the number of road traffic, industrial and marine accidents, as well as emergency responses. Currently in Lagos, ambulance services are executed by individual hospitals, private and public, private organizations, and the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, and the Lagos Response Unit, established in 2001. The policy by the federal government to introduce the National Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance System in the country, particularly in Lagos, is seen by many as a welcome development, as it will assist in strengthening the existing pre-hospital services available in the state.
If there's a proper EMS system as proposed by the government, you will see that ambulance goes to them, the right providers goes to them, they treat them right there on scene.
Ambulances are more like mobile ICUs. ICU means intensive care unit, because they contain quite a number of life-saving and life-sustaining equipment.
As a densely populated state, Lagos prides itself as a city with the most gridlock in the country. Respondents are of the view that for the full implementation of the National Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance System to be effective, the peculiarity of Lagos must be taken into consideration.
That may be a big challenge, but I think that is part of what should be incorporated into the planning before implementation. So rather than have just one center, where you have the medical emergency, it can be distributed. So you would have one on the mainland, you would have on the island.
So in cases like that, there are ways around these things to help. If government can make BRT lanes available and create more where they're not available, to give easy access to these ambulances.
Lagos residents are optimistic that the federal government intervention in the health sector will to a large extent support the overall socio-economic development of the country. In Lagos, Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
Those are the stories from the zone for now, but before I hand you back to Lydia in Abuja, don't forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates.
Deola. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has adjourned ruling on the application seeking to quash the 15-count charge preferred against the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to 8th of April 2022. Justice Binta Nyako gave the order after the motion has been adopted by the defendant counsel, Mike Ozekome-san. Ozekome-san urged the court to quash the counts and set free Nnamdi Kanu. The defendant counsel in the written address raised constitutional and jurisdictional issues, pleading with the court to dispense justice fairly and freely in the matter. The prosecution counsel, Shaibu Labaran, urged the court to dismiss the application seeking to quash the 15-count charge against Nnamdi Kanu. He said the prosecution was ready to open its case on the matter. State judiciaries have been advised to sue governors who refuse to implement the full payment of emoluments and privileges to state judges. As such is an impeachable offense under the country's constitution. Experts on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, emphasize this while discussing financial autonomy of the judiciary at the sub-national level. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
The clamor for financial autonomy of state judiciaries has been going on for long, despite the fact that the Constitution gives room for full autonomy of sub-national governments. Although the Supreme Court has set aside Executive Order 10, which was to enable the implementation of financial autonomy for state judiciaries, guest on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, however, revealed that constitutional provisions remain extant.
State governors want the state high court judges, their salaries, remunerations, emoluments are being paid by the federal government, and then you want the capital to be paid by the federal government. But yet, you will be the one appointing them. And all the financial responsibility will be borne by the federal government. That is an anomaly.
The legislature, as the learned Sikh said earlier, should have been the body responsible for checking the powers of the governor. You are not doing the right thing by not sending this money directly to.
The failure to give the heads of courts their money en bloc, and I mean en bloc, and that's where the control comes from, is a breach of the constitution, and so it's an impeachable offense.
Some state judges, and I know personally, have not been paid for 2 years, 3 years, their pension. They go hand in hand with the cap, begging people to support them. And so if you are going a chief judge and you know what your predecessor is suffering, you'll be afraid of retiring without any funding.
The guests agreed that state governors should be held accountable for raising the standards of the state judiciary to that of the federal government. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it has no reason to shield anyone who may be indicted in the course of the ongoing investigation of a 25-kilogram cocaine deal involving a gang allegedly headed by suspended DCP Abba Kyari. The agency, in a statement on Wednesday, 16 February 2022, said it remains committed to evidence-based investigation and its resolve cannot be weakened by any misrepresentation of facts. NDLEA says this is to correct inaccuracies in some reports and assure that the agency will not deviate from an evidence-based investigation that will spare nobody found complicit. The fuel crisis in Abuja has continued to bite harder as residents of the city lament the consequences on their livelihoods. Ekene Ndulwe, who has been about town, provides an update on the situation.
It is a picture of chaos at most fuel stations in the city center. Tempers are flaring as some motorists try to shunt the queue and maneuver their cars to the fuel pumps in search of the precious liquid. Some of the motorists say they have been in the queue since the previous night, and as at 11 a.m., they were yet to get the product.
Since 12 yesterday in the night, we are here, following the queue. We are begging Nigerians, our leaders, to please help us.
We have been here since 8 o'clock yesterday. We could not buy fuel and we have to queue here till today. It's not funny. It's not funny.
Meanwhile, black market dealers continue to make brisk business as desperation sets in for many motorists.
There's a lot of frustration among the citizens, and we're left no option than to seek alternative, which is the black market.
With the recent report from the NMPC that 2.3 billion litres of petrol will arrive the country between now and end of February 2022, Nigerians can only pray and hope that normalcy returns as soon as possible. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
Thanks, Ekene. More on field situation. Let's join Asmau in our Sokoto studios for update from that zone. Asmau, it's over to you.
Lydia, good evening and welcome to Sokoto. As fuel scarcity bites harder in Sokoto metropolis and its environs, commuters have appealed to federal government to assist in providing the commodity throughout the country. Sheikh Mohammed Detti has the situation report.
Nigeria had been importing petroleum motor spirit for some time, and it is in the process that a consignment that contained methanol was brought into the country. The authorities' effort to control the circulation of the adulterated commodity had led to scarcity of petrol in the country. For more than a week, Sokoto metropolis has been hit by fuel scarcity, which has caused hike in the price of the commodity throughout the state. Some commuters who spoke to NTA News said Nigeria is one of the topmost oil-producing countries, but have to import refined petroleum product, appealing to the federal government to assist in stabilizing the situation to ease the hardship faced by Nigerians.
Yeah, we are telling the government to do something possible because it's a lot of trouble. I have to take my children to the school yesterday. I bought a gallon at the rate of 1.5. By 8 a.m. yesterday, 8 p.m., it was 2,000 naira.
A visit to some filling stations shows that the price of the commodity varies from one filling station to another. At some, it was sold at official price of 165 naira per litre, while some filling stations are dispensing at between 220 naira to 240 naira, while a gallon at the black market is between 2,400 and 2,600 naira. Some managers of filling stations said it takes several days to purchase a single truck at the depot in Lagos and Port Harcourt. All efforts to speak to the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority proved abortive. In Sokoto, Sheikh Mohammed Detti, NTA News.
Students at the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, have appealed to Academic Staff Union of Universities and the federal government to resolve their differences and put one end to the incessant strikes in higher institutions across the country. This is coming as ASU embarks on a 4-week rollover strike following federal government's failure to meet the union's demands. Sheikh Mohammed Detti, who visited the university, has the situation report.
As at the time of NTA News visit to Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, all academic activities have been grounded with only few undergraduates and postgraduate students seen, although the university have not resumed for second semester academic session. Fatima Shehu is a final year student. She said the strike will seriously affect them as it is putting their future at unnecessary risk.
We are not happy about the strike because the strike is delaying us.
We are not feeling happy about it at all.
Why?
Because students, we are not expecting the strike to begin again. Besides, we just finished our exam not too long ago. We are supposed to resume by the end of this month.
Chairman, Academic Staff Union of Universities, Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, Dr. Muhammad Nuruddin Al-Mustafa said the 4 weeks rollover strike by ASU is due to government's failure to implement the MOU signed, non-adoption of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, and academic allowances, among others. He said, with this development, members of the union have suspended all their services, ranging from lectures, supervision, and research, until the 4 weeks warning strike action lapses.
If government today attend to our position, we are going to suspend it.
The management of the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, who spoke through Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration of Camera, Professor Ibrahim Magawat, said the university is still studying the situation. In Sokoto, Sheikh Mohammed Detti, NTA News.
And that is our package from Sokoto. But just before we go, let me remind you that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/.
Thank you for staying with us. In line with the culture of zero tolerance for corruption, 26 vehicles and other movable assets have been recovered from the project offices of already concluded World Bank and other development partner-assisted projects and programs in Enugu State. Receiving the report of the Update and Recovery Committee, the state governor noted that accountability is the hallmark of governance in a democracy. Susan Eze has details.
Determined to halt the norm where accountability becomes an issue at the end of the projects and programs of World Bank and development partner-assisted projects, the Enugu State government set up an Audit and Assets Recovery Committee to track and recover assets of such programs concluded within the period of January 2015 to August 2021. The committee here presents their report to the state government, indicating 26 recovered vehicles of different brands, as well as other movable assets.
We will suggest that Your Excellency look at our recommendations and probably take the necessary actions to ensure that what His Excellency has established now becomes a permanent in the history of Enugu State.
Happy with the job well done, the governor, represented by the secretary to the state government, assured that government will take definite steps in implementing recommendations in the report.
This audit will not only bring confidence to bear on our activities with World Bank, but will also show that this government is determined to ensure transparency, fiscal discipline, and accountability in all its activities.
The committee's assignment was delivered in 4 months. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Inasmuch as the country is putting in efforts to clear Nigerian cyberspace of irregularities, there is also the commitment not to leave the space void. To this end, a new national plan has been approved by the Federal Executive Council, which will enable more Nigerians participate in cyberspace and also separate government business from private dealings. The Federal Executive Council also approved the award of contract by National Examinations Council for the printing of sensitive, non-sensitive and other equipment for the senior school certificate examination, while the Ministry of Transport also got approval for the purchase of consumables for the maintenance and operations of the new railway projects corridor. Our State House correspondent Jide Onifade will bring us details of the Federal Executive Council's meeting held today. Next is Port Harcourt, and Gabriel is standing by. Hello, Gabriel.
Welcome to Port Harcourt. Leadership is key to peace, prosperity, inclusiveness and development. As the country is preparing for another election year, the need to elect leaders with competence and experience has been stressed. Ejama Uweke got views of experts on good governance at panacea to national development. Her reports.
Nigeria is a country blessed with high population with diverse languages, creative and innovative minds, arable land and abundant natural resources. For Nigeria to elect competent leaders come 2023, adopting right strategies such as objectively assessing the capacity of candidates who will emerge as leaders has been identified as indispensable ingredients of national development. Another factor that needs to be taken into consideration is national cohesion, devoid of religious and ethnicity devices.
What they're telling us is the same thing all the time. But what we need is a leader with sincerity of purpose who understands Nigeria has a complex and diverse tribes. As such, the bedrock should be equity, fairness, and justice.
We want a Nigerian president who is not just a Nigerian, who has got skill, competence, energy, output to fix this country, because that is more important than all the resources under our feet, or how beautiful our land is, or how amazing our topography is.
But I say we should all be forthright. Let's look for a young, a dynamic, a vibrant person who is devoid of these cleavages of the past. That is not what we want today. We want a young leader who can take Nigeria to greater height.
No doubt expectations are high for credible elections. It then behoves on the citizens not to underestimate the power in their votes to elect good leaders for growth and development of the country. In Port Harcourt, John Mugweke, NTA News.
A proper tax system that is convenient for taxpayers and the regulatory authorities have been retreated as a key component towards achieving higher revenue for infrastructural development. These were the views of some economists and financial experts in Port Harcourt as they explained the impact of the tax system on infrastructural development in Nigeria. Joy tells us more.
Taxation is a principal tool in the finance and administration of the economy of any nation. Tax evasion, which is viewed as a drawback to this objective, economic and financial experts noted can be corrected by a proper tax system that is convenient for the taxpayers and the tax administration authorities. Recent innovations in Nigeria's tax system are indications that the nation is making progress in this regard. This, the expert noted, is visible in ongoing infrastructural projects across boards.
If proper tax system is in place and everyone is able to pay tax, it means that government will generate more revenue to finance development. You can commission a survey to ensure that some of these companies that are evading tax are actually made to pay tax.
Until there is a sound political will to fight corruption, that everyone in the system, no one will be spared, irrespective of whom the person is, until we have that particular political way to do that. The tax income generated can never be used for the infrastructural development of this nation.
Expatiating on components that make up a proper tax system and setbacks experienced in Nigeria, one of which is multiple taxation, another expert called for establishment of a tax reform committee.
And this tax reform committee should not only be constituted by tax agents, the manufacturers should be there, the microfinance firm should be there, the small and medium-scale enterprise, they should be involved.
This is in addition to optimal administration of tax income collected to the right purpose, a challenge respondents said Nigeria is grappling with. Observers insist the situation dissuades many Nigerians from being tax compliant. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
That's all from Port Harcourt. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Gabriel. The National Orientation Agency and partners have launched a citizens' reorientation initiative tagged One Voice Nigeria Project. Kenneth Nanim reports that the program is aimed at mobilizing Nigerians to promote good governance.
Notwithstanding the challenges of insecurity, unemployment, political issues and other socio-economic problems Nigeria is grappling with, every citizen is also yearning for good governance. The One Voice Nigeria Project is therefore an action plan to galvanize Nigerians to speak with one voice, charting a new roadmap for a better country. But this initiative, they say, can only be achieved in a peaceful, united and secured nation.
Because we believe that being together, we're stronger, we're more formidable, we'll be able to grow our economy, and we'll be able to sustain what we have, our cultural values, our heritage, where we are coming from, and where we are going as a nation. The ignorance of people will be visited, and we'll be able to do something tangible.
I call on all Nigerians to emulate and carry the message of One Voice Nigeria as we move forward towards creating the kind of society that we all wish to see. The media, as we all know, is also an opinion molder. To the extent that you mold opinion, please mold opinions that will weld this country and always emphasize these good things that unite us.
The One Voice Nigeria project is also expected to provide a platform for more engagement with political actors on the discourse that will engender free, fair and credible elections come 2023. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Sustaining functional basic health care delivery system at national and sub-national levels under a comprehensive package to meet the increasing needs of Nigerians during emergency situations is gradually coming to fruition. Abubakar Akwanga reports that this follows the account of experts on Tuesday Live on the recent signing of Memorandum of Understanding for the operationalization of the National Emergency Medical Service and Ambulance System.
Increasing urbanization and industrialization of Lagos State has led to an appreciable increase in the number of road traffic, industrial and marine accidents, as well as emergency responses. Currently in Lagos, ambulance services are executed by individual hospitals, private and public, private organizations, and the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, and the Lagos Response Unit, established in 2001. The policy by the federal government to introduce the National Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance System in the country, particularly in Lagos, is seen by many as a welcome development, as it will assist in strengthening the existing pre-hospital services available in the state.
We apologize for that mix-up. Now let's continue with our next story. The continuous distribution of relief materials to either refugees, migrants, or internally displaced persons in Nigeria may soon change, as the Refugee Commission has begun to build the capacity of the people to be self-reliant. Federal Commissioner for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, said 1,000 displaced persons have been selected across the country for skills acquisition, training, and capacity building to make them useful members of the society. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
For more than a decade now, investigations reveal that the federal government has spent billions of naira on the upkeep of victims of migration, communal conflict, insurgency, and internally displaced persons. These Skills Up project, inaugurated by the Refugee Commission, is a deliberate attempt to change the narratives from over-dependence on government for food and other relief items to a more skillful and improved capacity displaced persons. The Federal Commissioner, who said that the skills training, which started in Abuja with 200 participants, will continue across the country.
The Commission is responsible for ensuring that we help persons of concern build resilience and help them with their coping mechanisms. Trust me, if you're a participant in this room, a member of the badge 01 of this training, you should count yourselves lucky. We haven't brought you here.
No, the end is for you to exit from the IDP camp with a skills or with your own startup to start your business.
The trainees express happiness over what they describe as a positive attempt to change their lives. Experts say the sustenance of these initiatives can go a long way in reducing the burdens on government, as well as improving the capacity of people that can contribute meaningfully to the society. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
The National Human Rights Commission is engaging stakeholders on the use of checklists for the police station visitors. This is to ensure that practices in police stations conform with human rights standards. Omenka Amarachuku completes the report.
Stayed here are stakeholders on a training on the use of the checklist for the police station's Visitors Week. The stakeholders will identify practices in the police stations with a view to make recommendations to the appropriate authorities for improvement in respect for human rights.
These audit exercises are not meant to witch hunt anyone or any institution. May I place on record the readiness of the police authority to cooperate with the Commission during these exercises in recognition of the fact that we are all duty bearers.
I believe strongly that one day we will get to a point, despite what is happening, that it might not be in our generation, but I have that firm belief that policing will change one day. But we need to it's not everything that you can think about, but there are some things that may arise, especially when you have to interact with the police. You will meet different persons with different temperaments, with different levels of readiness to receive you, with different levels of understanding.
The police stations are selected based on geographical spread and will cover one state per geographical zone plus Abuja. Umeka Marachuku, NTA News.
The Trade Union Congress is set to mobilize workers for active participation in politics. The Congress considered this expedient considering debates and opinions that the organized labor has not successfully tapped into the opportunity provided in a liberal democracy which emphasizes grassroots participation and negotiation of interest. TUC President Quadri Olaleye feels the fact that it is the political ruling class that takes decisions affecting the socio-economic well-being of workers is enough justification for the organized labor to get involved in politics, which is why there are very strong linkages between democracy, good governance, and workers' economic well-being.
The Congress will be organizing a roundtable intended to achieve the following: to broaden the conversation on the need to change leadership recruitment process in Nigeria through ensuring that credible leaders with great potentials emerge to lead at various levels. To generate continuous conversation on free, fair, and credible electoral process and good governance in Nigeria.
TUC says mobilization of workers and like-minded political actors for political alternative to leadership problem in Nigeria has started. Soil management remains critical and essential component in farming, especially in crop production. It is in the light of this that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture established geographic information system laboratories for soil testing and mapping for sustainable agricultural production. Musa Baba Aliyu has that.
Tilting the soil is one of the techniques being adopted by farmers for better yield, and this is done manually or mechanically. The healthier the soil, the more fertile it becomes, and scientists believe that getting a soil tested before planting is paramount.
And that's what most farmers need in terms of information that would help.
It is in the light of this that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture established this soil testing laboratory and geographic information system in Abuja.
Gaps have been identified in the way we manage our soils, which is affecting fertilizer usage and land use planning in the country. The ministry is determined to bridge the gaps, which was why the fourth National Soil Laboratory has just been established here in the city of Abuja.
Facilities here include reference centers for research, soil management, fertilizer application, mapping, and crop identification as it relates to location.
These laboratories are part of the effort being made by government to deploy modern technologies that are necessary for effective management of Nigeria's soil resources.
We are determined to follow internationally accepted protocol in doing this and to use the latest equipment that are available in the market.
This is the fourth National Soil Laboratory established by the Ministry of Agriculture. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Next is sport.